How you got out to LA? I know you said you were from Toronto and all that.
I came out to Los Angeles 4 years ago. Actually, yesterday was my 4 years in America anniversary.
Right, you told me about that.
Yeah. I came out, my husband's American, so he...
Oh, really? You're married?
Yeah,
Congratulations on that. I'm on the verge of that, too.
No, congratulations.
Thanks, I didn't know that.
Lady, very pretty, very pretty.
Oh, thank you. I forgot you met her already. Well, I didn't know that. Wow, congrats on that. That's like
I met him in LA, and then he moved for me to Toronto for almost 4 years.
Oh,
and the
man.
weather was not his favorite, so I was open to living anywhere where there's work. And I mean, I like sunshine too.
That's awesome. Wait, how did you guys meet?
We met on set, very cliche. He's a photographer, I'm a model, so
That is
the
cliche.
good old-fashioned way.
Well, so this whole podcast is about like anti-bullying and self-love. So my first question was gonna be, have you ever been bullied, or is there like a story you feel comfortable sharing?
Yeah, hell yeah. I was bullied a lot in school. Not so much high school. My high school experience was like pretty uneventful all in all. But in elementary school, like in the young grades, I was bullied a lot. I had a group of female friends that I was very close with. I remember in the 4th grade, and everything was good. And then in the 5th grade, I remember wanting to expand my horizons and be friends with other people outside of the group as well as the group. And I was friendly with a couple girls that were not part of this little clique that I was in, and the girls that comprised this clique weren't into that. They weren't into the idea of us really consorting with outsiders.
Wait, so you're like popular?
Only in the 4th grade. That was like my only year of not being a total dork. But I mean, it was still a total dork looking back. But yeah, they didn't like us speaking to people outside the group. And I remember once I befriended a couple really nice girls in my class that were not part of this popular group. The popular group turned on me, and they would like throw rocks at me. I remember they would just say the most horrible things. I remember the most egregious thing that they ever did was, my mom was in the school once for a parent-teacher conference of some sort, and one of the girls went up to my mom and told her that I had been bullying them, and then as she walked, which was the opposite of what was really happening, and as she walked past me, this girl, she gave me like this look of just like, ha, gotcha. And my mom, like having no idea what was going on, was like, is this true? Like, these girls say you're bullying them. And I was just like, I don't even know how to tell her what's really going on. But, and then, yeah, unfortunately, they also went to the same middle school, so
it's like a graduate.
I could not escape them. So in middle school, 6th grade, I was so excited for a fresh start and like a new group of people, and I befriended a bunch of really nice kids. And they immediately went to those kids and were like, do not be friends with this girl.
Wait, they did that?
They did, but the new friends I had made were like, we think you're a really nice person, so we don't believe what they said, and you know, they turned out to be really awesome people. But after like 6th grade, it wasn't an issue anymore, but they were pretty terrible.
Yeah, that's crazy. I never had that experience. I was always the one that was on the outside trying so hard to like be cool, so that was like my experience. I was gonna ask you, so what does self-love mean to you? Like, what does that word mean to you? Like,
I think it means having compassion for yourself, understanding for yourself, and being able to forgive yourself for things that you see as undesirable qualities. Like just loving yourself, regardless of anything.
Did you ever reserve a time that you didn't really like love yourself?
Absolutely.
That's funny because you say that, because I know like people would look at that like, oh, why, you're a model and and you're so pretty, you know, why would you? But it's can you explain like what bothered you?
So many things. I mean, let it be known on the record, I was very ugly growing up.
Really?
I was not a cute kid.
Really?
I mean, maybe when I was really little, I was like cute in the way most kids are, but no, I was very weird looking. I had like crazy teeth and braces and big Coke bottle glasses and just
that's
mushroom haircut that went wrong. It
really?
was not the best looking time of my life.
I would not see that coming.
But it was also that beautiful age where you don't care, where you don't have like really that sense about your appearance. Like you don't care because you're just like, I'm fun and I'm funny. And
what age was this at?
This is like middle school.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
When you just like don't really care about your appearance, you're still just like You just care about if you're having fun.
No,
Life is
definitely.
good.
It is like that. This is just like
The golden years.
no, isn't it like in high school and it starts
Yeah,
getting like
yeah.
you gotta like it is get weird.
High school is the first time where I became hyper aware that appearance mattered to other people and that I should be concerned about how crazy looking
Where
I
did you go in high school? Where did you go?
I went
What high
to
school was that?
Lawrence Park
Where's
Collegiate
that at?
Institute in Toronto.
Oh man,
I traveled very far from my neighborhood every day to go to the school because it was, I wanted to take French immersion all through school. So it was like pretty far from my house, but it was a good school.
wait, can you like educate me on that? Wait, what's that?
So in Canada, there's you can take French as like just like a kind of a class, the way people take like a Spanish class here in America. Or you could do French immersion where all of your classes all day long are in French.
So you
And
speak
that's what I
French
did.
fluently
I
right
was-
now?
I understand it fluently, but it's probably been like a decade since I spoke it
That's
like,
awesome.
in an everyday sense.
That's crazy. I would never know all this from when you got here. And
I'm a little rusty.
I didn't even know you're Canadian. I thought you were American.
My accent sneaks out sometimes.
It's funny how
The
those
oots and the
things.
boots.
It's funny. How? See, is there? I don't know, but you never went to school out here. Is there? How is it in like this? Well, the school you went to. How was it like? Was it like? Were there like cliquey and stuff?
It's funny, I was talking with my husband about this the other day because he had like the classic, we were watching, I forget what movie it was, but it was a movie where there was all these like cliques in a high school.
Mean Girls?
It wasn't Mean Girls, but it was something, oh maybe it was Dazed and Confused. And he was like,
Oh,
man, this was just like
that's my favorite movie. You have to sound like cheesy. Like,
it's so classic.
I know.
But he was
man.
like, this is like my high
No,
school
it's
experience. And I was
everyone's
like,
high school
but it
experience.
wasn't mine. I was like, I didn't go to school with any of these archetypes. Like my high school.
Oh man, so that's
was-
exactly
yeah.
Dazed and Confused. Exactly. With
Yes.
my high school, like the football players were like the
yeah,
gods.
we didn't even, I don't even think, I could be wrong, I don't even think we had a football team. We had a rugby team, but it was a pretty tame experience compared to what I
man.
hear American high schools are like.
Wait,
Like,
so-
we don't have football culture in Canada.
So what's it like? Is it like just like?
Like you just go to class.
Hey, that sounds kind of, no offense to that, just kind of sounds
every-
like boring.
And
right?
it was like, the expectation was that after, it was a little boring, that
Right.
after your high school experience is done, it is not mandatory in like a you must go to university way, but like everyone did. The expectation was that you do that.
Right.
It was like
yeah.
unheard, even just to go to like a community college was seen, where I went, or where I come from, was seen as
Like
a,
we.
where
know.
did you go?
I know, damn.
Whereas that's like a perfectly
real.
fine thing to do, but yeah, I can't really think of more than like a couple people who didn't directly go to university. Just so odd because
See, you know what's funny about that? Everyone in my family went, and like the social group I was with all went, but I was just like, I don't know. I think the whole, I don't want to sound like one of those people that are just like whining about all the things that happened to him, you know, but it was like that whole like, I was even talking about this with my girlfriend last night when we were having dinner, where it was like that whole like just being called, like just like being made fun of, like, oh, you're stupid, because I was like struggling in class, and like, oh, you're fat. I was like really overweight too. All these things were just beating my self-esteem to nothing. So it was like, why would I even try to like, I was never even trying. Like, oh, we have a test this day. It's like, why try? I'm gonna fail.
right.
So it was kind of like,
So you'd rather not try,
So I
and
was-
you can just be
it
like,
wasn't even like I didn't even want to try. It was just like, this is it. This is all the end. Like I'm 11th, 12th grade. Like I can't even like. I tried out for like JV basketball team in front of everyone. I got crossed on the floor. It was just like everything was like, what is going on with you? I'm not good at sports. I'm not good at studying. I
high school
can't.
is
I don't have
brutal.
style. Like I can't even get a girlfriend. Like I didn't even try. And I realized it was just all. And it was like I kind of like, you know, like that. It was like I was a burnout before life even started. Like kind of like I gave up on this.
Yeah.
Until after I got out and I realized, wait, I could start like doing things that make me happy and
Do
like.
anything.
Right,
None of that
exactly.
stuff matters and like carries over to your adult
And
life.
I'm
Like
not
it's irrelevant.
exactly, like I'm not even trying to say like, oh, don't do that, because I know a lot of people that took that path, like, oh,
Sure,
they,
yeah.
and they went to school, then they went and got a job, and now they're married, and it's like, wow, that was positive too, but mine just took one of those routes that were like this way, that way, a zigzag thing,
Yeah.
and it was just like,
Same. Yeah, it's like It's so, I mean, I did the whole university thing. I got a degree, a bachelor's degree in social work, and I
Oh,
thought I was gonna,
congratulations on that.
thanks. I thought I was like gonna do that, you know, the 9 to 5 thing, and it was like suddenly the opportunity to model came up, which I had never thought of before.
Congrats on that. I was looking at your
Yeah.
feet. You did
Oh,
some
thank
really
you.
like. It's not even like. It's not even like. It's like you did all these like. What is it like? What are the like correspondent dinners and like you
Oh,
were
yeah.
at the White House? You're doing
Crazy.
some dope ass
This is the
stuff.
weirdest year
It's
of
like
my life.
literally like dope. Like
Yeah, it's something I like never in my life thought that I would or could be a model, and then when that opportunity arose, I suddenly realized like, oh, I'm not suited for a 9 to 5. I love traveling.
Right,
I
like
love
you're-
having a spontaneous, unpredictable schedule. I love working with different people every day.
I know, like you're being really modest. Like you're really doing it. Like it's
Thank
like
you.
really awesome. I was looking at it
It's
like,
fun.
wow, I'm excited to have her on.
12
Like
years of fun.
right, it's like you're doing like really like awesome. Like you're like really doing it. You're not like some like no offense to them, that's awesome, but you're not like just someone that's like posting pictures saying I'm a model. And
Right.
Instagram model. Like
Yeah.
you're really like this is your career. It's awesome.
I'm
so
so old
congratulations.
that when I started, there was no Instagram.
Right, so it's like you're
Yeah.
actually
You were
congratulations.
either a model or you weren't.
Exactly. It's like wow, you're like really like nice and down to earth. It's
Thank
like,
you. You too.
Thank you. So it's like it's like you usually see like people going forward when they're like nice and stuff, and you know, but yeah. I was gonna ask you since I had you on because of all that in a way. There's a whole stereotype of that, isn't there? Like you're a model and so there doesn't like bullying and stuff. Does it happen a lot in that world? Like competition? Because I know I was watching your story. It's like casting, and it's just like a room full of
Oh, yeah.
beautiful women. It's like what the hell? Like
That
is it kinda
picture
like-
was like an extremely crazy casting where like
but
they
I
had
saw it's like
there's so
everyone's
many
beautiful.
people.
I know.
Yeah.
Don't you ever feel like what? Like,
Yeah, but then also like
Is there like
I
a
mean,
thing? Is
everyone
it
has
catty there or how?
no,
Everyone's really nice.
I've met so few mean models that I could probably count them on one hand. Like
Really?
of the hundreds and hundreds of models I've ever met, most of them are super sweet.
Oh,
They're
that's
so nice. They're
awesome.
so intelligent. There's so much more. Like the stereotypes about models.
That's what
are
I'm getting
so
to right
intelligent.
now. Like that
They're
stereotype is
They're
like.
so intelligent, and even ones that don't have, you know, formal education, like there are so many transferable job skills that you get from being a model that people don't realize. Like you are a consulting, marketing expert,
That's
advertising
awesome.
expert by the end of your modeling career.
Yeah, if you could elaborate more on that, on the stereotype you see, but really what you would like to say about that, some more detail
Yeah.
about that. Because I know that whole stereotype, like you're done. Because I saw this one, I knew it was like a wardrobe person, and it was like, she's just like talking to the models, like, wear this, put this on. It's just like the stereotype of like, you're just like dumb. That's not even true, right?
No,
Because
yeah.
I'm like talking to you, and you're like,
I mean,
you're
a
so
lot of
articulate, and it's like, that's,
I didn't start till I was 19, but a lot of these girls start super young, some of them like 12, 13 years old, and I think, you know, they'll start traveling the world alone at ages that young, and I just don't think you can do that and be stupid. It's just not, it's not a thing. Like these girls develop insane adult level interpersonal skills at a young age that most people couldn't fathom. Like it's not a normal upbringing. I feel lucky that I didn't start doing it till after high school because can't even imagine what that would be like to have such an experience like that so young. But it's been great. I love it.
That's awesome. Is there like anything you'd want to say to like younger models or girls that are trying to get into that whole world to like watch out for, or just advice?
Yeah. Oh, so many things. Definitely do your research is most important. Do extensive, obsessive research on
Like on
everyone.
what, like just
On
like who you're
photographers,
meeting?
on agencies.
Oh yeah, did you see that one shady guy that like came out as like a photographer and he's just like sending DMs like?
Yes, yeah.
You must have got a lot of those, right?
There's so many.
So how did I saw this whole guide and where it was like ask other models on his feed, like have you met up with this person? Is this person legit? Is there like have you gone through doing that kind of stuff?
I have a really strong ability at this point
Sense
to
of awareness.
detect bullshit and to detect people's
But
underlying
You know what I was gonna
motives.
say about that? Like I know I was talking about it with my grandma. It's like you just gotta inoculate, because
Right.
then you have nothing to hide. It's
Right.
like the best thing is just to be who you are.
Just be normal.
Exactly, like
just be a nice person.
exactly, because it's like eventually it's gonna catch up to you or stuff happens. It's like why even do it? 'Cause it's like, just be who you say you are.
Absolutely. But I would say, fortunately, at least for myself, of the hundreds of photographers I've worked with, I've had like a negligible amount of bad experiences, and they've been like pretty tame bad experiences.
But isn't yours going through like an Asian, and it's
Yeah,
there's always
yeah.
a middleman, so you're like,
Usually, yeah.
see,
Unless
okay.
it's like a test shoot, sometimes it won't be through an agency. But yeah, generally, if you've got a good agency, they're going to vet these people pretty carefully. But even then, I mean, back home in Toronto, there were a couple photographers that I personally had fine experiences with. They were professional, you know, nothing of note happened, and they went through agencies. And then years later, they were outed as molesting underage models, and it just shows that like people
even thinking about that stuff. I'm not even trying to be that guy right now. That's like,
it's
but it's like, yo,
like these are literal children that were trusting you with their hopes and dreams and trying to build a career for themselves, and you took complete advantage of it. And it's several people that I worked with back in the day that I had fine experiences with, but that were secretly doing these things to other people, and it's so evil. It's so crazy.
It is. I think about that sometimes. Like, what's the point of that? Like, it's gross. Like,
it's crazy. Yeah, it's just an abuse of power. That's all it is. But it's interesting that we are living in a time where people feel more open to come out with these stories and to share information. Whereas before it was people were very guarded about their experiences. Like if you had a bad experience with someone, a lot of people didn't share it, so you couldn't know if somebody was.
In their defense, I understand, because it's like if you share it, then it's like, wow, the whole world knows, like, oh, she either got like raped or she
and
like,
they may not believe you.
Exactly. Like I was watching this thing on Netflix last night, something about like a bunch of like high school football players like raped some girl, and then at the same time it was like she didn't want to. It was like people don't want to come and say that because then everyone's like, oh well, she deserved it.
I saw that.
And it's like now this, no matter where this girl goes the rest of her life, that's gonna. And they try to call her like Jane Doe or something.
So sad. It's just crazy. Like it's like the strength that takes to come out with that story, and then to have people just crap all over it. It's so painful. Like it just unimaginably.
Exactly.
Oh, horrible.
I know that's the thing behind it. We have this whole like anti-bullying assemblies tour where we like talk to like students on like an assembly. What would be, if you had time to come out, what would you say to like a group full of like students? What would be your advice to them if they're listening?
I would say that something that's always comforted me over the years is that the idea that change is the one constant in life. Things are always fluid, they're always changing, and how you feel today is not how you're going to feel forever. Like however terrible you feel and however hopeless you feel, that will not be your feeling forever. I've had times where I thought things were so unimaginably bad and painful that I couldn't survive them. And I'm here, and you're here, and we can survive them. I mean, everything can change on a dime, and you can make change happen as well.
No, that's real.
You can push it along.
I wish I knew that when I was like a junior in high school, senior in high school. Like I wish there's something like this to listen to, because I really thought it was an all in. Like it's over. There's no change. Like I'm not gonna be able to like come out of this. This is like, because I kind of in a way they project high school and stuff to be like, this is your future.
Right.
Like you're testing.
It's so serious.
Exactly.
And it's not that serious.
Exactly.
I mean, like your education is important, but like it's just 4 years of your life. That's it. That's inconsequential in the grand scheme of your life.
I know. When you got into the whole modeling thing, what was your first big break or something what was something that you got really excited?
I think probably just shooting like magazine covers early on.
Oh, that's awesome. Which
so
ones were? I know you saw a bunch on your feed. Which ones like?
I'm trying to think of like an early one that I shot that was. I shot a lot of like bridal stuff back in the day, but even that was fun. And I think another accomplishment, like an early one where I was like, oh, this is the best, was I went to Hong Kong for 3 months to model.
That's awesome.
The experience on that first trip was insane. Like it was just so awesome just to be running around this entire city that I've never been to and just like figuring out where everything is, figuring out how to communicate with people, booking all this work. I loved it. I loved like the hustle and bustle of the industry.
That's inspiring. You know why I keep going into that? It's because like listeners or anyone that when we post it, even off your followers that listen, that they can see like you went from that stage in your life where you were kind of saying you're like that ugly duckling. You were kind of like, oh, and now you're doing all these campaigns. At that moment, you never thought that you were gonna grow up and do like all these
Not at
things.
all.
So
Yeah.
like all the like younger listeners are like girls are in high school. You shouldn't give up on it. Like it can happen. You're like an inspiration to everyone that's
Totally.
listening because it's like you were saying how you had like a bad haircut and you were just like
Right.
way never being. But now you're doing all this, and
But
it's like
those are at the end of the day just physical things, and it's not gravely important really how you look.
right.
But I mean, yeah, it's like anything can change. Anything can change.
Mhm.
Anything you think that you can't do now, you very possibly can in the future if you work hard and commit to your goals. I mean, I was like the really weird loner goth kid all throughout high school.
Oh man, and I really like that's why things are so inspiring because it's like you went from that, and I know you're like a you remind me of what was JFK's Jackie Kennedy.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. But when I was looking at you had that whole thing going. So I was like, you went from that like goth girl to this because that's just inspiring that you make. So it's like also on the podcast, I like it to be like inspiring and be like, hey, you went from here and did this,
Yeah.
rather than just being like,
And the thing is,
how
like,
did you make that like transition? Like, cause after like, so after we do the assemblies, we always have a Q&A, and like the students come up to me, and a lot of them like were girls like, oh, I want to start modeling, but I don't think, and it's like. But it's like, how did was it just like someone discovered you?
yeah, I got scouted by a bunch of agencies, and before that moment, like just randomly on the street or in coffee shops, and before that moment, I never once considered it. Never thought that was like.
That's
I mean, I watched like the first few seasons of America's Next Top Model, and I was like, that's interesting, but I never for a second was like, I'm gonna do that one day. I didn't think that was in the realm of possibility for me.
That's awesome, because I know I read like Kate Moss's story, and that's what happened with her too.
Yeah, most of them get scouted. It's interesting.
Were you like, did you think like, oh, is this like some scam at first? Like, when
I
did you
did
know
at first.
it
It
was
was like, well, I knew nothing about modeling, and I think one of the first agencies I was scouted by was Next Models, which is a huge agency.
No, I know.
I didn't even know who they were, like, because I knew nothing about the industry at this point. This was maybe when I was like 17, 18. And I was just like, who is this guy? What is this agency?
Wait, where did they catch you at? Just like the street? Like
I was at
Tim
Hortons, which is like the Canadian coffee shop that all Canadians love.
And you just scouted you?
Yeah, I was just having like a coffee with my friend.
Wait,
and this
how did he say?
strange man came up
what
to
did he
me.
say to you? This is like interesting to me.
I think he just came up to me and was like, hey, I'm a scout for Next Models. You should email me.
He gave you a card?
Yeah, he just gave me a card. He wasn't creepy or anything. He was just very like matter of fact about it, and I was like, that. As soon as he walked away, I turned to my friend and I was like, well, that was weird. And then I went home and I Googled it, and I was like, oh shit, this is like a really reputable big agency.
Congrats! The way
cool.
you got there to this moment here, and all the things I saw on your feed, that's almost like really inspiring. Like it gives hope to everyone that's just like, these things happen. It's like
life is the exciting part of
and
life is that
Canada
it's unpredictable.
too.
Yeah.
And then you came out. Did you meet your husband out here?
I met him here. Yeah.
Wow. And like your energy is like hella positive. Like you're just a happy person. So it's like
I mean, like life will give you throw enough stuff at you to bring you down. You might as well.
I know. That in its own is crazy. Like you're in Canada, you got scouted, you moved out here. Things have been great. You got married.
Wow. This was my personality even when I was the weird goth kid, so it was like a cool contrast.
That's funny how that is, man. That's crazy. That's actually really exciting. You know how you're like, this is who I've been. You never altered the way you're acting and stuff.
Yeah, it's like I experimented with my look and with fashion and stuff. And it's funny, I used to have like, back when I dressed like really crazy, I used to like white out my face. It was like very committed to looking terrifying.
That's why you said that. Like, I was like, my perception when I saw you, I was just saying I just thought like you're always the model, you were cool, and I didn't have no like perception, but I thought you were from America, but it was like whoa, and like how it went about, where you just got scouted.
Yeah, it's such a winding
like
journey.
Really dope.
From a person so scary looking, I say that in quotes.
You gotta show me one of those.
Oh man, old ladies would come up to me
feed?
and people would pray for me, like on the bus. They'd be like,
this
bless you, child, do you need help?
Really?
And I was like, I'm a nice person, I just like to dress weird.
Oh my
There's nothing
God.
wrong with that.
This is
There's
hella
nothing wrong
funny.
with that.
Wait, then you just, and then Next Model just like flew you out to LA type of thing?
No, this was their Toronto office.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
and I met with them, and then didn't get signed. They were like, we're gonna pass for now.
Really?
For real.
How did you wait? You were like.
And then, like, I think 1 or 2 years later, I met this photographer online. I started shooting. We had like mutual friends in the MySpace days. I started to shoot with him, fell in love with shooting, and then after I freelance modeled for a little bit, I went back to Next Models and was like, now I have a book to show you, I can show you my potential. And
See, that's even more inspiring, because it's like, I know a lot of people that would have just stopped right there.
Right, yeah.
And then you were like, wait, you know what?
I was like,
and then
that's
you
okay. Yeah.
anyone that I've ever heard that achieved any amount of success, that was also a triumphant thing, where it's like, oh, well, it gave you a nudge, and then you went and did all the other work, and then came back, and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
So see,
and I like didn't, I mean, I
you
hadn't
have a great
modeled at that
story.
point, so I thanks. I hadn't modeled at the point when I first met them, so I didn't know that I loved it yet. And then once I started doing it and freelancing, I was like, oh my God, I really love this. It's so creative, and I just feverishly love it. So I feel like when you go to meet somebody with that kind of energy of like showing someone how passionate you are about something and how much you love it, I think they're more responsive to that. Like,
No,
that's true in any
definitely.
business. People feed off of that energy.
No, definitely. Like our last assembly was before the summer at this like all private girls Catholic school, and it was like the principal and everyone was like, oh my God, your energy's cool. It like set the assembly off for all the guest speakers. Everyone just had a great time, because
Nice.
I really are passionate. I really want to do these. So it gives everyone that thing, like the main guy is really happy about it.
Right.
That is how it is, because like it does have a lot to do with your energy, and if you're really
Yeah, you never know like who you've reached with that message, like who you've impacted with those words. That's the craziest thing. Like I've been extensively cyberbullied at times. I would say
that was like one of my main questions.
Yeah,
I went into it.
I think I'm an anomaly in the sense that I get.
They must be hating on you, right?
I get like 95% super nice positive messages,
And
which for the
head
internet
off.
is amazing. That's like better than anyone I know. But I'll get the occasional message that's just like people telling me to kill myself and crazy things, like people I've never met that are making all these assumptions on pictures of me.
They're the hell of
It's
hating on
crazy.
you.
It's crazy, but it's. I always just respond with kindness, and I just say like, consider the impact of your words. Like your words have meaning, they're important, and it's important that you use them responsibly.
So do you just ignore it, or do you say something to them?
I either ignore
block
it, or I respond kindly to it and try to get to know the person. Once
That's
in a
nice
blue
of
moon,
you.
once in a blue moon, they're open to it. Mostly, they just want to like respond back with hate, and it like infuriates them to get a nice response. Like it almost like fires them up more. But I've started recently deleting, when I get like a nasty comment somewhere, if it's like especially crazy, I just delete it, because I don't want younger people to see someone speaking like that on the internet to a stranger and think that that's an okay way to behave.
Definitely.
Like that's not, like even though this is just like a culture of, an army, if you will, of keyboard warriors, just
No,
throwing
that's a
their
nice
words
way to
out
make
there.
it.
Yes.
It is like that.
That's all it is. It's just people like hurling words at strangers they've never met. But
You know
I
what's
don't.
funny about that? Once you break through, like, I don't know, being like The Rock or someone, or like Brad Pitt type of like celebrity, it's 90% of the time it's either people that knew you, grew up with you, went to high school with you. It's the ones that are like, it was in your high school class or college, or made a friend somewhere and then stopped talking to them. It's them.
Yes, yeah. Because people
them.
don't want to see people they know being successful
Exactly.
sometimes, because it reminds them of like, oh, it could have been me.
Exactly.
Could have been me if I had moved differently.
And that's why I started realizing when I was getting a lot of that, and I still get it to this day, but I always realize, you know what, I feel sorry for you because it's someone I know personally, because I'm nowhere near that level on like The Rock or like Tom Cruise, somewhere like Justin Bieber, where it starts just becoming like, so it's like, I know it's someone I know that I personally knew, and it's a shame that it's usually either friends or